Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie A.N. Elliott. I am a certified sex therapist, a marriage and family therapist, and a licensed professional counselor here in the Atlanta area. I have a private practice, atlantasextherapy.com, and we specialize in this practice helping people who aren't having sex to have sex. So the low desire couples, no desire couples, and really we do a myriad of things, but that's usually the focus is helping people have a better sex life or have a sex life period. Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, I love that. Making the world a better place, one person
Yeah.
at a time. I'm curious, from your experience and the viewpoint of your specialty,
Hmm.
are there any recurrent themes or reasons that you see that are holding people back from having a sex life or a healthy sex life?
Oh, everything. um, the media, social media, the expectations, the lack of good information on sex, and I feel um like just basic stuff. And so what all can I say on this? What words
Everything.
can I use? I can use
And
any words.
yeah,
Okay. All right. So just today I was telling a couple, like they just happened to say, and yeah, I really want to have an orgasm for, during sex. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait, what? What do you mean? Well, when we have penis vagina sex, I'm not having an orgasm. Why are you still trying? Okay. All right. So, across multiple studies, across multiple years, we know that 70 to 80%, depending on the study that you read, but 70 to 80% of women do not have an orgasm through penis vagina sex. This is what we know. This is what we know. And so it is amazing that we have the studies, we have the science, we know, but people are still saying that. And I'm so glad they said it and I caught it so that I could like fix it real quick. And for those of you guys out there who this is the first time hearing it, because it seems like even though we have a culture, I think if you ask people like, do we have a culture that openly talks about sex, they'll say, yeah, we talk about sex all the time. We don't as a culture talk about sex all the time. We don't. And so for those of you who haven't had this conversation, let me break it down to you. The penis is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Okay. It is multifunctional. And so it is for urination, procreation, and sexual pleasure. It does three things. Wow. Yes. The female body is not like that. It's quite complicated. And so the vaginal canal is for procreation. And I need you to know that. And it doesn't have a lot of nerve endings in it because if it had any more nerve endings in it than it does right now, we really wouldn't make it through childbirth. Right now, it's already like a little up in the air. But if we had any more nerve endings in our vaginal canal, like we would probably be down for the count. Okay. So I need you to think of the vaginal canal as for procreation. It is nice and wonderful that the penis feels good when it's inside of it, but please stop using that to try to get your orgasms. Okay. Okay. Now, the urethra is also not in the vaginal canal because, again, a 10-pound baby would tear that up and you wouldn't be able to go to the bathroom for quite a while you heal. All right. So, therefore, whoever created the human body, whatever your belief system is, decided we probably don't need to put those two things together. And then the clitoris is for sexual pleasure. There's no other reason that the clitoris is on the female body except for sexual pleasure. I need you to understand that. I need you to know that that's your sexual organ. And I don't remember if it's as many or more, but there's okay, don't quote me on this part, but I'm pretty sure there's as many nerve endings in the clitoris as there is in the head of the penis. And so it's either the same or something right around that. So I have to go look at the research. I'm sorry, you guys, that I don't have that specific thing. And so that's the female sexual organ. And so that's what females should be trying to use to have this wonderful orgasm that they can have. Also, the latest research is also telling us, and latest mean like 10 years ago, is that for a long time when I came into the field, the research was saying it takes women about 20 minutes to have an orgasm. And so the latest research, the last time I read it, heard it, looked at it, was saying now even from 20 minutes to 45 minutes to have an orgasm. And so a lot of females aren't having an orgasm, not because they can't, not because they're not getting enough stimulation, not because they haven't realized that the clitoris is what they should be working on, but because they're not giving it enough time. And so, and I hear things like, um, oh, what do I hear? Like, compared to my partner, I'm so slow. Yeah, if your partner's a male, yeah, you're slower than he is. It's the thing. Like, it is. And so, and then also, like, you, like, it's been said, like, men are microwaves, women are crock pots. Like, this is what they're talking about. Like, this right here. Oh, yeah. And so I hear things like females like, well, it shouldn't take me that long. Yeah, it should. Like, you're different. Or I'm embarrassed that it takes me that long. Or or he'll get tired. And I'm not saying that he won't. He might get tired, but that's something you need to work out as a couple. But also, a lot of us stay in our heads and we don't actually talk to our partners. So I will. Okay, it's the easiest way to say this. Let me say it professionally. I have met plenty of men who said I can perform cunnilingus for hours, all day and all night. Like, I like, that would be nirvana for me. And yet females get in their heads and there's never a conversation with their partner, whether you would like it or not. It's just this, oh, it's taking me too long. I'm embarrassed. I'm sure he's tired. He could be. He might be that 20% of guys who get tired. And also could be in that, 60 to 80% of guys who like, nope, this is my nirvana. So I remember a long time, a client, it was a guy, and I don't know, I can't remember the conversation, but I just remember he was like, I want to lick it. And, so, and it's like, I just remember that one clip because he was like a little boy in a candy store, like, I just want to lick it. And so understanding kind of biology and that we are attracted to others and we do want to do, things to their bodies and and relaxing into that. I would really want to tell my females to relax into that. So, okay, I said a lot. So I hope I answered your question and stayed on topic.
And beautifully said. Absolutely. I really appreciated a few things, and I want to go back to a couple of them. The first being, thank you for that breakdown of explaining that the vaginal canal specifically does not have a lot of nerve endings because
Right.
it is specifically for childbirth. And so
Mm-hmm.
to have more nerve endings there would create more pain.
Right.
Actually had never thought about that, realized that, or heard that. And so when you broke that down, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. And when you broke that down, I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense because you're right. A lot of women, particularly, will say,
Yeah.
like, I can't have an orgasm just from sex.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't, or I haven't, or,
Yeah.
thinking something's wrong. But like you said,
Yeah.
that isn't necessarily for that, although it can happen.
Right.
Um, so thank you for breaking that down. That makes
Mm-hmm.
a lot of sense. And then pointing out the fact that this organ, the clitoris, actually is made just for that. And that's where you want to go.
Yes.
And
That's where you want to
that's who
go.
you want to look to. Yeah. This may not be correct, but I did hear somewhere that I think there's like over 8,000 nerve endings in the clitoris. Like there's
Yes.
a lot.
It's a lot. And I'm so sorry I don't remember those exact statistics for you guys. But I'm sure there's another YouTube video out there that tells you.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm
a
sure you can
lot of
Google it.
nerve endings in the clitoris. Like, it is your sexual organ. Like, use it. Like, it's there.
Right.
It's there to be used. Yeah.
That was really eye-opening. And then the other thing that you talked about, which is really interesting, there's two other things, especially for us coming from Live Jasmine, is that there's not a lot of spaces where people can just talk about sex. And that's
Mhm.
certainly one of my theories on why Jasmine is really popular with
Mm.
people because it is this space where you're welcome to talk about sex.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah.
encouraged there, it's appropriate there. And there aren't a lot of spaces where people can just go and talk to someone about their fantasies and really get into it. And I think a lot of people are craving that. People do want to explore themselves in that way.
Yeah.
Something else you said that stuck out to me is that you kind of gave an analogy of, a couple's conversation or lack thereof when they're not telling each other what they want or what they need.
Mm-hmm.
They're feeling embarrassed or shy about it. And
Yeah.
again, I do think that's one of the things that draws a lot of
Right.
members to Jasmine is feeling like, okay, I found someone that I can go into detail about what I want
Yes.
with.
Yes. Yeah.
Even if they're sometimes already partnered with someone else, they may not have that level of
Mm-hmm.
intimate communication, which so many
Yeah.
people are seeking. Isn't it
Mm-hmm.
funny? Whenever I interview, sex therapists like yourself, I find it so funny to hear you have couples who are literally physically having intercourse, but they are uncomfortable talking about it.
I think because of society, culture, how we were raised, like even in my own household growing up, anytime something sexual would come on TV or any innuendo, my mom's like, turn it to PBS. Why aren't y'all watching PBS? And so if that's kind of the message you receive, not that my mom was a bad mom or anything, it's just around sexual topics, if you haven't learned how to talk about them, how do you know how to talk about them? If you haven't had open dialogue, then how do you know how to have open dialogue? And so you have to, it's a skill you have to learn, but nobody tells you that you have to learn the skill. And so it's just this idea that um, permeates our culture is that you're supposed to know, is that you're supposed to know. And that's hurting a lot of couples because not only do they not know, automatically know for their partner, but a lot of people don't even know for themselves because they've never had permission. Because if you didn't have permission to talk about sex, then you surely don't have a permission to explore your own sexuality and figure out what you like or what you don't like. Because who would you have that conversation with? Because you don't have permission to talk about it out loud to anybody. And we so easily kind of get embarrassed about, those sensitive topics. Yeah.
How important would you say communication is to overall sexual well-being with partners or ourselves, maybe?
I'm gonna say 100% important. Like, can it get 1,000% important? Definitely. I mean, it's as important as you can get. I think I would say 75% of my cases is communication and communication around sex. That if the couple communicated really well around sex and probably also expectations, had appropriate expectations, then they wouldn't be coming to see me. Half the time, it's about communication. Like I've had a lot of sessions where like we get into it and it's a communication issue
Mm.
or a standing issue or a not believing each other issue or not being able to have those conversations. And so once all of those things are worked out, when they actually have sex, they're fine. It's the getting to the sex and the communication is usually where the problem lies. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very
Mm-hmm. It is. So I think people like, oh, a sex therapist, like, what do you do? Talk about talking. We talk about talking. Uh, Usually, and I tell this to all of my like mentees and supervisees under me, like, no, you think we like we're not gonna be talking about sex as much as you think we're talking about sex because most people, uh, it's the getting to the sex that's the problem, and it's very interesting. So yeah.
really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've seen members that have had 15-year relationships with a particular model on the site.
Mm-hmm.
15-year, 10-year relationships. I mean, it's actually pretty common.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out like, what causes this dynamic when the two have never met? It's
Right.
completely online.
Mm-hmm.
And call it this parasocial relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
what I think it is that because in the dynamic, you
Mm-hmm.
have to be explicit in your communication of what you want, what you don't want in order to get what you're
Yeah.
there for.
Yeah.
Really think that bonds the two people.
I can see that. And because therapists have to deal with this, period, across the board, no matter what therapist you're in, is that when you really listen to somebody, when you give them your undivided attention, when there's no judgment there and no bias there, therapists kind of know, like sometimes clients will like be attracted to you or fall in love with you or what. And it has, and because I'll tell my newbie therapist, it has nothing to do with what you did, but having somebody pay attention to you, to listen to your every word, to like be a cheerleader for you, to like completely be on your side and be there for you. Like that's attractive. It really is. And so, I mean, honestly, that's what a lot of us are looking for in partner, you know. And so when you find it, even through a computer screen, it's worth so much, you know? And so think of it as like this little slice of heaven where you can go and you can be without judgment, without regard, and just essentially, and this may be too strong of a word, but it's such a simple word, like just be loved, you know? Just be loved and accept it. And so why would you walk away from that? Why
That
would you not try to stay in that as long as you could? Yeah.
that is fascinating to me. That I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because, but it's actually really interesting that certain clients or patients fall in love with their therapists
Mhm.
because, like you said, what ends up happening is whatever their core need is, like
Yeah.
maybe being heard or seen,
Right.
valued or appreciated,
Mm-hmm.
they feel like that
Mm-hmm.
person is meeting the
Mm-hmm.
needs. And you're right, that is I
Yeah.
think, very similar to
Yeah.
why members bond so closely to
Yeah.
models
Mm-hmm.
because they are listening to them. And
Yeah. Yeah. And think about this. If you don't have it anywhere else in your life, or you haven't learned how to get it anywhere else in your life, then that's going to feel oh uh probably like I don't know what I would assume your um I remember that movie Limitless when he like takes the pill for the first time and the world is open to him. Like, so I'm thinking that's probably what it feels like to be really heard, to be really listened to be really seen for the first time, especially if we're talking about a sexual topic that you haven't been able to ever say anything out loud about this to anybody else. So just imagine you start figuring this thing out, whatever your like, your fetish or kink, whatever it is, you start figuring it out around 8, 9, 10. But you also realize very quickly that you can't say this out loud at all. And you make it through your teens and you're trying different things, but you realize again, I can't say I don't, and everybody, I wouldn't be accepted. And then you make it through your 20s and you feel it. And then you find this online space where you can finally say this one thing out loud that you've been keeping secret for years. Like, would that not be a bonding experience with somebody to finally be like, oh, yeah,
it's like you're finally able to be free because when you are sharing some of the most
yeah,
vulnerable aspects of yourself,
yeah,
your inner core, which
yeah,
our fantasies, our kinks, our desires are tied to that vulnerable place.
mm-hmm.
And then to go somewhere where that vulnerable, sensitive place is
Yes,
nurtured.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's like a dream. That's a
Right?
dream. I mean, seriously.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. I mean, just think about us as human beings, how sometimes, especially women, we just need to say stuff out loud.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know? Have you caught yourself doing that? Like,
Of course.
okay, this has nothing to do with nothing. I just need to say it out loud right now.
Oh my goodness, all the time. Sometimes I call friends and I'm like, can I just like free flow on you right now? Like, are you
Right.
able to handle that right now? And I'm like, yes. And they do it to me too, where it's like, I kind of just need
Right.
to get this out and kind of see where I'm
Yeah.
going with it because I don't know where I'm going with it, but I
Yeah.
bounce it. Yeah,
To get it out, to get it out. And I think that's just kind of one of the things of being a human being. And so when you have something that you feel like it's not safe for you to say it out loud anywhere to anybody, and you finally find a place that you can say it out loud to, like that has to feel like nirvana, like an oasis in the middle of a desert. And so
absolutely.
why would you not keep coming back to that?
100%. It's
Yeah.
like, I think about it all the time, if I had a core, and what's interesting about this dynamic too, that I just thought about is I just interviewed a member yesterday and he told me straight up, the sexuality is what got me in the door, but it was the connection with one particular model that kept me. And I was
Mm,
like, oh, and he was like, what about that connection? And he was like, the things we talk about. I go to her when I'm having a hard day and she listens to me. She gives me advice. And
yeah.
she can offer, like an unbiased perspective because she doesn't know anyone. And he
Yeah.
starts telling me the topics and the details of things they talk about. And he straight up
Mm-hmm.
told me that's what kept me on
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine. And so I think sometimes, like he said, people are going to Jasmine for the excitement of the sexual
Mm-hmm.
interaction
Mm-hmm.
content, but then all of a sudden they get this
Yeah.
core need met that they didn't
Yeah.
even know.
Yeah.
I think most of the members still don't know why they are really there, to be honest. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
think they do. Like he said, it's our relationship, our talking, our communication,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if they really realize like you potentially, in some cases, not everyone, had a need of being heard that you weren't getting anywhere else.
Right.
If I had a need, like a true core need of something
Mm-hmm.
that I was only finding through a service I was paying for,
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem paying for it if I need that need to be met. Like, I'm sorry.
Hey, which is why everything, why people have personal trainers, why people do all of the things that we do,
All
because
therapy,
they, yeah, yeah, you know,
yeah.
it's a thing. Yeah,
We
it's a
pay,
thing.
yes, it is a thing. Many
Hmm.
of us pay for our needs to be met. Absolutely.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's okay. That's really okay. That's really the way of the world since the beginning of time. People have been, first it was bartering because I need chickens and I have cows, like, and it's still getting needs met. And so it's okay to get your needs met.
I love how you just said, and that's okay. And that's okay. Because I think if there are members or anyone else listening that feels some of that societal programmed shame or
Mhm.
guilt on these things, sometimes they need that permission.
Yeah,
I think we all do. And when it comes to certain things, sometimes we just
yeah,
need permission.
we do. And so the credentialing body that gave me like the credential of sex therapist is called ASEC, the American Association of Sex Educators, Counselors, and Therapists.
One of the
One of
best.
our core, thank you. Yes. One of our core tenets is what we call the PLICIT model and how we work with people. And the very first letter is P, and that P stands for permission. And that's the tenet of what we do is giving our clients permission. And it's so simple sometimes. Just it's okay to be who you want to be. I mean, of course, I'm a therapist. We want it to be legal, we want it to be safe, we want it to be consensual, like all of those things. But it's okay. You have a foot fetish. It's okay. Like it's okay. It just is. We're human beings. We are so dynamic. And so there's no way we're going to fit in a box and all like the same thing. We can't even all like the same ice cream, you know, like we can't. We don't. And so there's no way that we're going to be able to all like the same thing with sex. Like we're too different. We're too dynamic, and stepping into that.
Where do you think our fetishes and fantasies originate from? And I'm also curious your thoughts on what age.
I have no idea, but I also think it's the same place where because all right, so every now and then, I'll eat something that's really great that you're like, hmm. So the thing that I think I always think of is like, who decided or thought about putting an Oreo inside of a pancake batter and frying it? Like, where did that come from? I'm not sure, but it's pretty good. Cause who wakes up one day and is like, I think I should fry Oreos. Who knows? And so I think wherever that creative space is that has one man say, I believe I can create electricity, and another man say, I believe we can fly in the air one day and I want to create that. And another man say, I believe that I can fry an Oreo and it's going to be great. Like it's the same, I think, place where somebody's like, oh, I think I want to try that sexual. You know,
I love
I
that.
think it's that same creative energy that,
Oh,
and some people are great at it, of tapping in to wherever that creative energy comes. But I think it's all around us, like even one of my favorite things to look at is like buildings and like the huge, like gigantic buildings that we have across the world. And so, for a man to look at a piece of steel and say, I think we can make this building 150 stories high and go do it. And I think that's the same thing, the same creative energy. And I don't know where it comes from, but I think it's pretty great. And I think it's okay and great when it happens in the sexual world and the sexual realm as well.
absolutely. I mean, you're absolutely right that we know that creative energy is directly tied to sexual energy.
Yeah.
Babies are created and they came from sexual energy. And there are some people who argue everything creative is actually tapping into your sexuality to create
Oh, oh, I like that. Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are
Mhm.
people who say that. So,
I mean,
uh,
I just think there's it's that kind of intangible energy and force that's kind of always present. Like it just, yeah, it feels so good. And so, yeah, I wish I knew where it come from. I mean, we would all probably try to go like,
live there, live in that place.
move there, plant a well, buy stock. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully somebody will figure it out one day. They probably already have.
Let us in on the secret. Yes. I'm curious if you have or have had any clients that use campsites for connection or to have a certain sexual need met. And
Oh,
what
I'm sure I have.
motivated
Like, it's a thing. But have I had anybody who has openly talked about it in session with me? No, not yet. And we specifically, like if you look at our website, we are kind of targeting couples who aren't having sex, so low to no desire couples. And so that could be what's weeding them out. And so, but I haven't had that, but I know it happens. Like it's what a $1 billion industry. Like, yeah, my clients are doing it, whether we talk about it or not. Somebody on my caseload is doing it, and if it's working for you, work it.
My next question for you is based off of your experience, what you've seen with your clients,
Mm-hmm.
your your perspective. If there is one message you could give to everyone in the world about human sexuality that you
Mm-hmm.
don't think the world is getting yet, what would
Okay.
that message be?
Sex is a natural expression of being a mammal on this earth, and it is human beings who have put all these lines and restrictions around the who, the how, the judgment, making it right, wrong. And so if you could just know that, I hope that would give some people some freedom around what they're doing or not doing or how they're doing it. Like, please make it safe. Please make it consensual. Aside from that, like, have fun, you know? Yeah, that's what I would want.
I love that. I
Mm.
love that. Like, make it safe, make it consensual. Aside from that, have fun. Like, go at it. You're so right. I mean, I've never seen like animals like point when other animals are having
Yeah,
sex and judge,
yeah,
and you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like,
Hmm.
you're right. Like,
Hmm.
as human beings, we're kind of the only species
Yeah.
that have become very invested in other people's sexual activities for some reason.
Right, we have. And as human beings, we're quite great, and I'm so excited about the person who had the creativity to make the air conditioner because mine was out earlier, and I'm really appreciating them. But I think that the shadow side of being a human and having all of that intelligence is also judgment comes with it. That if you don't do it like I do it, you're less than. Or if you don't do it like we think the norm of the culture is doing it, you're less than for whatever reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes work to kind of remove that way of thinking.
Everybody tries to be a better person and not look down on somebody because they're different. It'll be a better place.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. And I would argue, I think I interviewed someone who likened sexuality with this analogy, which I appreciated, which is it's like your fingerprint. Everyone's sexuality is very
I
unique,
love that.
right?
Okay, I'm gonna steal that. I don't know who I'm
Right.
stealing it from, but I'm gonna steal that.
I can't remember who I'm stealing it from. I feel bad, but I do so many interviews.
Right?
me,
Oh
hit
gosh.
me if it was you. But it was genius. So I really enjoyed that because it's true. We're all so unique in our upbringing, in our genetic
Yeah.
makeup, that of course,
It's
our
gonna.
individual sexuality is going to be unique.
Mm-hmm. That's like right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I have nothing else to say. That's brilliant.
Brilliant. I love that.
Mhm.
I'm curious what your thoughts are, if you have any, on this very quickly emerging world of AI and sex tech.
I'm I'm excited about it, but I'm excited about AI, period. And so, um, so I'm of the mindset that I can't be excited, that it's writing my blogs and not be excited that it's doing other things for other people. Um, Actually, I haven't even written a blog yet, but the idea that I can and that it's going to write all my blogs for the next year, I'm so excited as soon as I sit down and do it. And so we'll see, we'll see. But you, I mean, we're human beings, and what we know about ourselves is that we will continue to do all of the things that we have done with technology. And so I'm sure before the advent of the TV, they were concerned, what's going to happen with this. And then before the radio, I mean, I'm sure radio was first, like what's going to happen with this new technology. And so we're here, it's just a new technology. And so what's going to happen, how it's going to affect us, we'll see. I think it will be good and bad because it's always good and bad. And so the wonderful thing about the internet is that people are connecting and finding the love of their lives, that it has um, smashed like long distance relationships that I don't know where are you right now? I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Where are you?
Angeles.
Right. And so we're having this wonderful real time conversation that literally will be recorded and people can listen to for years to come. And that's a wonderful thing with technology and the current stage of the internet. But we also know that people are also doing some very bad things on the internet and using it to hurt, harm, abuse, scam people. And so AI is going to be the same way. And so embrace it for the good that it's going to do, and the connections that it's going to bring. And we'll learn how to police the other things that we need to police.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah. But bring it on. Let's see how it's going to impact. I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, me as well. I mean, I've already heard of some really interesting uses that are coming
Yeah,
about with it.
yeah, it is. Like, and so um I recently went through the drive-through of Dunkin' Donuts, like regular, normal Dunkin' Donuts on a regular, normal day. And the person who was speaking to me and taking my order had such excellent diction and came through so clearly that I was like, "Oh my God, you sound so good over the thing! Like this is amazing." And then something was like, "That they're not human. Like, this is." And so I was like, "Am I talking to the robot?" And I was like, And so it didn't answer, and I pulled around to the drive-through because like this is Dunkin' Donuts. Like I'm in like a suburb of Atlanta. I'm not like in like the hub tech of the world. And so they were like, "Yeah, and it's so much easier, and we don't get cussed at anymore." And I was like, "That is amazing." And so for my experience to be elevated just in a drive-through experience, then where else and how else could my experience be elevated with the use of AI? And so I'm very excited to see where it's gonna go. And a little scared because like if AI can, replace my drive-through person, then can it replace me? And so we're looking at that. Will people not need their therapist anymore? Will it be even safer to talk to a computer and tell them your deepest, darkest sexual secrets and not talk to a person?
I don't think so. The AI is record, especially because it's learn. That's how it learns.
Yes.
So it records and
Yeah.
everything, and one
Yeah.
day it may change its mind and decide to tell everyone everything.
Right. Like, yeah, because people can still hack the system and everything. So it'll be very, very interesting to see. Like I'm excited. Um, it might be a bumpy ride. So everybody buckle up and we'll see where we land.
The one thing I will quickly say about AI is that I actually asked ChatGPT its weaknesses, and
Ooh.
its weaknesses are all about it's all about any type of emotional intelligence. Honestly, it pretty
Oh,
much
okay.
says I'm very logical. I can figure things out and I can give you data, but
Mm-hmm.
it gets very confused about what I would call matters of the heart. And I think
Mm.
that that is the thing that is always going to be truly inherent to human
Yeah.
beings and the human soul is matters of the heart.
Yeah. And now that you said it, I can see that only because I know I have my clients who are very black and white thinkers that sometimes they can't even understand matters of the heart. And so to take an AI that is literally the definition of like black and white, zeros and ones to try to explain an abstract concept, that's going to be really hard. Gives me hope.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, I have really enjoyed this interview. You are just a blast to talk to. I love your energy.
Yeah. Yes.
My final question to you is from your perspective, what are our next steps in continuing to build our foundation for a more sexually healthy and positive society?
Oh my God, so many next steps. So just one. Um, if I had a magic wand, we would we would talk about sexual health differently in the school systems. And I know a lot of people are just like, no, that should come from parents. It it would be nice if it would. That's a dream that everybody's going to parent well and teach their children well. I think we learned through the pandemic that parents are terrible teachers. And so I would love if I could wave a magic wand. I That's what I would love to do is to have a really comprehensive, good sexual education program in our school systems that gave people factual data. Like it hurts my heart that a 50-year-old woman is like, I've never been able to have an orgasm, no matter who I've slept with, no matter the man. And me explain, have you been using your clitoris and have you been giving it, and have their eyes open. Like that just shouldn't be. Like at that point, this is kind of biology, right? This isn't even a sex lesson. This is a biology and how your body works lesson. And so that would be my hope, my dream. Yeah.
Very well said. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. This has been a joy. So if you guys need me again, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely.